What is maintaining you right now there? Right now, at this point of time, what is maintaining you there is the mind. That is the mind. So when you say that, what do you sense? That is the mind. That's all. Don't try to know it further. That's all. Finished. The tendency to know the mind, you have to actually stop it. Know the original nature of the mind. I mean, the original mind. When you are discussing this, we are all discussing about the original mind. Contents of the mind, anybody can talk about. Right now, is there a content in your mind directing you are sitting there? Of course, by the Freudian theory of the mind bird. There is that preconscious level of attention that you are aware that you are sitting in this session. It is almost 10:30 Indian Standard Time or 3:30 Darwin time. All these are there in your preconscious mind running. That's all. Do not doubt what you understand as your mind. Do not doubt your own theories. So surprisingly, a little baby is very curiously sitting on the setting her eyes on the screen. It's very surprising because most children of her age would like to see variations on the screen. Variation meaning some big pictures moving, some cartoons moving, etc., etc. He is looking at a rather very disinteresting screen. Anyway, nobody knows what she is looking at. Even she does not know. This is called the intentionality of the mind. Something in that entity is tempting her. These are all English language we are using to interpret what she is doing. Now I am sure she is understanding. Her entity is currently understanding that I am talking about her. No doubt about that. Because that is the possibility of the original mind. But she has no words to talk about it. She has not differentiated it. No, no, she is shaking her head. She has differentiated that also.
Right.
In fact, her mother Parvati told me that this little baby has never looked onto a screen before. And many a times she has come across the screen and she will shout at her to close the screen and to go with her. Yeah, yes, I am talking about you. I am talking to you. My language is not talking to you, but my attention is directed on to you. See, her head is moving.
She's
So
nodding.
when you said that she is nodding, her eyes are really moving in a direction which it has never moved before. Yeah. Our intentionality. We have to trust what you do. You said this universal space of energy field, like the entire body is connected. This entire universe too is connected. Am I right? She says yes or no. I mean, that is what her head moves like. She's agreeing to that, I'm sure. Anyway, she knows that I am communicating to her.
Exactly.
The most surprising thing is, even now, she is constantly looking onto the screen. Hello, look here. Oh, now only she started looking. But she is responding to everything that is told to her. This is the essence of something which I always wanted to tell many mothers and parents. It is not the language that you are communicating to the little baby. It is your intentionality. It's very difficult for them to understand. It is your energy field that is communicating to the child. Your energy field somewhere else or bothered about something else, and you are talking wonderful ideas. It won't work. So the child cannot comprehend. In fact, she is agreeing to all these things because she cannot move the head like upward, downward. As a little baby, it is comfortable for her to turn the head sideways than upward, downwards. So these are the wonders of the world, and no doubt that's a very wonderful child. She will create
It's
history.
22:30.
Yeah, yes, of course. She is showing her fists. That original mind, that is the property of the original consciousness. This I have told to many audiences. I have told to audiences of parents that you can talk particle physics to a 3-year-old child. You can, no doubt about that. Of course, it cannot talk back. So long, I always add, so long as the child is listening to you, you just talk particle physics. You just talk creativity. You just talk about thinking. You just talk about reflection. You just talk about the universe. You just talk about the birds, flight, whatever. Ah, she is moving the head now upward downwards. She understood that it is upward downward movement which is recognized by the people. Anyway, that's very interesting. In a very higher order sense, there's correct evidence. So try to trust the mysterious world. It may be very difficult because the physical world is very familiar. The sense data, though we say we don't take the sense data is nevertheless bombarding in the same way. That's why, as much as possible, you should lie down looking at the stars in the sky. That's why you should go to the ocean and look at the waves, because it is always mysterious. That's why you should have a little garden, even the space is very small. Look at the plants, look at the trees, look at the cat. Because all our interaction with the world has been conditioned by language. With language, we can communicate only with adults, adult human beings. And what do we communicate? I mean, what do we talk? 90% ordinary things only. So to compensate that, you look at just a tree. At least it will never talk to you back. Train yourself to interact with the things which never talk to you back. Just look at them, just to see them. That's all. Because that seeing is the seeing, that is the energy field, that is the spirit. Like the child is doing, almost 15 minutes now. I think she is clapping the hands. What does she do, Ashadi? Sorry, Parvati?
Yeah, she's clapping.
All right. Okay. Wonderful. Absolutely marvelous. What is there to clap in the screen? So this is original consciousness. This is original mind. I mean, this is nothing but electric, that field force that is covering the entire nature process, which is covering the entire process of every cell in the body. But somehow we are trapped in our knowledge, in our identity of I am, myself, and my awareness. Let it be trapped, but once and for all, at least once you just get out of it and see that, and then, of course, you cannot remain there, then you come back, then everything will be okay. That's our whole aim. Just to see the passing horse through the pinhole of the wall of our, actually speaking, tentative illusory identity.
I had a question.
Yes, please.
When we see the passing horse, what if we don't know that is the horse? How do we know that that is the that?
Yeah, that is a good question. That is, by the time you go on looking through the pinhole,
I've never seen a horse.
yeah. So when you go on looking through the pinhole, whatever you may see there will tell you that I am the horse.
Okay.
You may not differentiate it as the horse by which you meant the word horse. So you have taken the metaphor for its
Horse.
real meaning, yeah.
Yes.
This
Yes.
passing phenomenon. If you have ever seen a horse, for example, if you take the metaphor for its practical validity,
Hmm.
you just see a sweeping movement only. Because it's a passing horse, it's a running horse. So you will get a glimpse of whatever is on the other side. And Zen master who has used that metaphor, he means that only. Because whatever is within the wall is all that Ajnana Timirandasya. So when you go on looking through that, whatever that comes across is the Satori, is the that. That's all. At that time, this is what I also told you about me. I do not know whether what I heard was a so-called enlightenment. Other, I don't know. By my knowledge about whatever word knowledge or whatever literature, there is no clear literature on exact nature of enlightenment. Nobody can talk about it. So, but we can have some intuitive assessment of the possible nature of it. I don't know what they mean by enlightenment. But at that point of time, I felt something. Like when people say this is something, and at later point of time, you come to know that this is something called orgasm. So we do not, we are not really sure whether this is the same thing that somebody else experienced. So nobody has to tell you at that moment that is generated by the entity itself. Just like the origin of the mind. You don't have to know that I am enjoying. When you have the feeling of enjoyment, you have the enjoyment. You don't have to necessarily apply the word enjoyment to explain that. You experience it, that's all. But you have a point there. A great lot of people are looking for the horse and they will never see the horse. This is what I mentioned also. For decades together, they sit in the Himalayas with much, much more obvious signals of dedication and commitment than any one of you. I don't think you are even capable of doing that. Physically capable. I have seen people sitting in ice slabs, not ice slab made in a factory. The riverbed has frozen and it is completely ice. I have seen more than 30, 40 people. I did not count them exactly. Sitting absolutely stark naked in that ice because they belong to the whatever guru, whatever, who says that very gently coming across the gate of death is an easy way to see enlightenment. So sitting there, I saw people whose legs have become what you call whitish. Whitish, and in one person's leg, I could see worms, white worms. But nothing has happened to them. But this is my conclusion, in the sense that they are continuously sitting there. If they happen, they would get out and go. Even in case of normal hunger, you eat your food and then you cannot sit there anymore on the dining table. The very food which you loved, you feel kind of irritable. You feel irritated to see that again. Then after seeing the so-called great thing, how can they again sit in that ice? And what is the process they are doing? When you're sitting in the ice, gradually your legs become paralyzed. You have to be aware of that. Paralysis gradually entering into the buttocks, then to the abdomen, then you will know a point of death. At that point of death, whatever is about to depart from the body is to be located. That is their task, assignment. So I think they have an expectation of the horse. And this is what was told to me by the person who took me there. So this is what they are doing. So if that person told me this much, those people who are sitting there, they might have little more knowledge about what they are looking for. And when I thought that, I thought it is very easy, something very easy. I mean, something very tangible. That means you can know slowly your legs becoming paralyzed, then the body becoming paralyzed, then there will be a moment of anxiety, and then the abdomen becoming paralyzed, then the lungs becoming little paralyzed, so that you have to take an extra power to breathe. Then you will get a point that oh, I may die, I may die. Then I thought it is very easy to locate that which is departing the body at the point of death. I don't know whether somebody had gone out of that place, I don't know, but I am telling. How long? At least that 2-3 people whose legs have become whitish, because sitting there, their complete blood, what I don't know. It looked very white. And their other parts of the body black, and that portion became white. It is completely dead. So do not expect any horse. The original mind is simply emptiness. The child has no words to talk about the original mind, but it is original mind. And very paradoxically, when you come across your original mind, you will not have any words to talk about it either. So we are doing a tricky process. That's why often the Zen talks about use the concept the gateless gate. That's why the Zen master also gives a metaphoric warning. Do not search the fugitive by beating the drums. For every beat of the drum, that means every idea that is governing us, for every expectation we have, for every anticipation we have, they are all very huge sounds, so that the fugitives, so the fugitive called the moment of Satori is shifted that much far away. So you have to be very cool. With all your inspiration, you have to be cool. That is why, that is the important thing everybody knows.
It's
When
22:45.
you are driving a race car at 300 kilometers per hour, you have to be cool. With all your experience, why you need so much of experience? With the samurai's sword in your hand, you have to be absolutely cool before the opponent. Then only you can strike, otherwise you will be killed. Even in the case of normal activities like a driving, in the beginning there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of unnecessary movements, looking here, there, heartbeat, blah, 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 blah. And finally, when you drive, what do you do? Virtually, you don't do anything. You just don't do anything except turning the like you are walking. All that's the gateless gate. You have to try all your best, all your effort to master something, master it to such a level that you are not even aware that you are a master. Like with a lot of effort to you learn the driving, and finally when you drive on the road, you are not driving at all. And same is the process for enlightenment. You have to know all these things. That's why the conventional meditation, conventional guru, monastery, disciples, etc., that is to master the power of consciousness. Like using the sword, the other is defeated. But for pure enlightenment, as I told you, you can sit down in a corner and meditate upon a cone or focus your attention somewhere and just try to do that. But that is of no advantage. You'll be able to talk only about that and that. That is the problem with all. But analytical ability, which is the number one ability required for the future leader. What else? Already most of the decisions are done by artificial intelligence programs. So future leadership is only for those who are capable of what you call creative, analytic thinking and perception and interaction with people. They will also survive because the company needs a few people to do something. But understand their internal conflict. Every day they will go back home feeling unfulfilled. That is the problem. Because there is that internal entity, what you call Antakaran, that internal original consciousness which can identify which is a good song and which is a bad song without any training in music. That thing will know that I did not do the job properly. I could not do it. I am defeated. It will know.
Yes,
But
and
they will
they feel
suppress.
really anxious about it when they get to see wonderful responses from the so-called non-MBAs or MBAs from not so premier institutes. They really feel that pressure.
Yeah, yeah. Parvati must have experienced a hell of a lot of time. I know that.
Yes, I have somebody assigned to me 2 months back. He's from XLRI, but he can't even think for himself. Yeah, really. If we ask him to do, and he's into analytics, HR analytics, and most of the time, some of us has to tell him in which direction he has to go, and that's when he will put it on a PPT or on an Excel or any kind of tool. He has the skill, but he can't think, and he's from XLRI.
So,
And before that he was a BTech some rank holder.
hmm, that's so. I wonder, somehow or the other they may traverse the difficult path of a career, but I wonder how they manage their life.
Difficult.
Very
He
difficult.
is always has some kind of illness or the other, and he looks up to somebody for comfort all the time. He's always in an anxiety.
Exactly. That's, you will develop diabetes, back pain, constipation, and all that within another maximum 1 year.
Actually, he already has constipation. He talks to me. I interact with him a lot. Cold and constipation is his constant problem.
Sir, right digest.
That's why we have great hopes on right digestion. It is a wonderful thing which can help a lot to people because intestinal canal, I told you, that's the entity. The intestinal canal is ready and most of the things will get resolved. But they don't understand this, they don't believe. They don't believe that the body is the mind. They don't know Ragadi Roga. They don't realize the fact that even the Western medical science is now proving that almost 90% of process illnesses are due to conflicts in the mind. It is not the marital conflict or economic conflict. It is the basically what you call competency conflict. And they are all in a rat race also. The poor guy on the village, they don't have a competency conflict.
Yeah, always trimming the last 10 percentage creates a kind of uncertainty. So I know it's like the fittest fighting concept, but this is not a war.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, today one of my ex-colleagues, he randomly reached out to me. He's a journalist, So he asked me, do you remember the organizational traits? We were about colleagues about 10 years back. So those three were fairness, commitment, and innovation. He said, yeah, you remember that. And then I think maybe he was trying to write an article. He wanted to remember what it was. But I was thinking, what happened was the first two were things, fairness and commitment were things which the organization had. But then at a time of lean staffing, they did not consider that. And when they let go of those two, the third one was automatically lost to the company, innovation.
Yeah. And no, I'm sure nothing will happen to you people because when you're tuned with original consciousness, nothing can defeat you. That's what I have personally experienced. But you should never take it for granted. Once you are in tune with your original entity, which is not a creation of you, and when you are trusting that original entity, you are trusting the greater universal forces by which you have been formed. That's all. And if that cannot take care of you, no problem. Then your defeat is not your defeat. But people should need a destiny to come after you to get your guidance and support. Even today morning, a father and a son came. So that is the power of your mind. So that is what Nostradamus meant, the psychological power, that unshakable trust in the forces by which you are existing, by which every cell of your body is functioning. By which, that's the way you have to look at you. That should be your identity about you, your secret identity. A clear conviction that you are 100% a part of the universe. Alright?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.